Yeah, because we also had reports, like I said, coming out about our imports and exports game, who gets to return and who unfortunately is going to be finding a new place of employment. But this was also Sports Illustrated was where I saw the article at, but I want to say it was Jeremy Fowler who did the reporting on it and put out the quotes that were in it, so to speak. But yeah, man, basically, it looks like the Steelers are going to be moving on from Dan Moore and James Daniels. Now, we obviously know what both of those guys, in terms of Dan and James Daniels, man, both of these dudes have started multiple games for us to varying levels of success. I'll also say that, right, when we preface it, when we talk about them dudes. But when you're talking about, like I said, man, Dan Moore, 4-year starter for us, came in initially as a 4th-round pick, if I remember correctly. 4th round pick. Yeah, make sure I want to butcher him up, man. But yeah, came in initially as a 4th rounder, man. Has started, every time. Super available and stuff like that. So obviously we know he has been one of our mainstays. Not a world beater, but at the same time, man, when you're just talking about from a NFL's perspective, yeah, you won as a 4th rounder when you come in and you start 4 seasons consecutively at a position and are ultimately, 66 starts. And you're going to hit the market, man. So to me, man, I look at Dan and I'm like, I don't personally love the move of moving on from him. But at the same time, I can 100% understand why. And I'm not against it. I'm definitely not against it, man. And the thing is this, when we're talking about why I'm not against it, it's because it's going to open up an opportunity, specifically to a 1st rounder that we just drafted, was it, I guess, 2 years ago now, in Broderick Jones. We've only seen Broderick at right, but when you draft a guy in the 1st round, you want to see him at the position that you drafted him. And I understand the situation leading up to, Broderick getting his first start and taking over ultimately for Chooks. It wasn't the most ideal, but it was what it was. And that's what landed Broderick at right tackle. And we got a chance to kind of see what he could do well. And then we also saw where he would struggle at. Whereas now with Dan Moore, at that point, Dan was continuing to be arrow pointed up. He was playing at a really good level. And we were seeing some consistency with the hope that this year he would take that real leap of being a bona fide guy or giving us clarity that we can move on. Unfortunately, it was a little bit of the in-between. We saw some really good moments from Dan Moore where you had me talking about him really highly midway through the season. And then we obviously saw how it ended with the Trey Hendricksons and the Myles Garretts of the world having a lot of success against him. So when that happens, man, to me, that changed my stance. Do I think Dan Moore is a good player? Yes. Do I think Dan Moore is a starter in the National Football League? Yes. Do I think Dan Moore could still start for Pittsburgh next year and we could still win a lot of games? Yes. But at the same time, I do feel like his ceiling, you're getting as close as you're going to get to peak Dan Moore. I think he maybe could go a little bit higher in terms of just overall production, but I don't think he's ever going to be the type of player that we envision a Troy Fautano or even a Broderick Jones potentially developing into based off of those guys' athleticism. That's why those dudes were 1st rounders versus where, Dan Moore was a 4th rounder. It's not a slight to him. It's just athletically, those dudes profile and project certain things that Dan doesn't. So when the play from Dan kind of levels off and you're still very, very much young and early in the career of a 1st rounder that plays the exact same position, that's the part for me where as much as I would want to lean on the side of caution, as much as I want to lean on the side of I've seen this, I know it can play left tackle, I don't have to guess, let me just make sure I don't overpay it, that to an extent is living in your fears. And it's like, man, you drafted Broderick for a reason. We all enjoyed the tape that we watched from Broderick while he was at Georgia. The dude deserves the opportunity to compete at left tackle. I'm not saying you give him the spot. I'm not saying that. But I do feel like he warrants an opportunity to compete at the natural position that we drafted him at. We're not talking about a 4th rounder. I know that was or even a 3rd rounder. That was the whole Kevin Dotson convo, right? It's like, yeah, man, why are you playing Dotson at left? Why are you playing him at right? It's like, bro, what? Dotson wasn't a first rounder. Dotson was a middle rounder. It was like, hey, man, you got an opportunity to get on the field. Just get on the field. Broderick is a different conversation, man, because we're talking about a high pedigree first round draft pick at a position of need. And financially, right tackle versus left tackle, we're talking big difference when we're talking average salaries as well. So that's the thing that, like I said, I am understanding of the move. Do I like it all the way? No, because there is some guesswork. There's definitely some concern with that. I mean, we haven't seen 17 game Broderick look Pro Bowl, all pro caliber. We've had moments, but we've also had not so good moments. This is going to be a learning curve. This is going to be a little bit of an adventure. Left tackle in the National Football League is a different beast than right tackle. But is Broderick capable? I think he is. I think he has all the traits to come out there and play that position. But we're going to find out. And the only way to find that out is by allowing a guy like Dan Moore to move on. If you keep Dan Moore here, you're never going to get a chance to have Broderick over there, man. Unless, well, I don't see how you would do that even going forward, because you'd have to pay Dan Moore, and you're not going to be paying Dan and then put him on the bench. That, now we waste the money. So with that, though, that's why I'm like, man, yeah, give Broderick the opportunity, man. Let him show. And could it sink? Sure. But there's still a chance that it could also come out here and play at a high level, because that is what we drafted it to do specifically at left tackle. So that's the part to me, man, that, you know, with Dan Moore more than likely moving on in free agency, I'm intrigued at the opportunity of what Broderick moving to his natural left tackle position could bring us. Now, I will also say this, though. I'm not against us bringing in some competition, man. It is. I don't want a first round tackle. I'm not talking about that type of competition. But if you went and got you a middle tier, free agent tackle, I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. Something just to make sure that Broderick has to compete. Because still a part of me is skeptical in the sense of, if it was just a true 1v1 competition right now between Dan Moore and Broderick at left tackle, I've seen Dan Moore play in 66 games at left tackle. Yeah, make sure I got these numbers right. Yeah, that's a lot of starts, man. It's a lot of starts. And to me, he's been good in more of them than he has not been. But I get it. But to me, that's my thing. I'm just like, I've seen Dan do it. We have not seen Broderick do the left tackle just yet. We're going to find out, though. But that's why, for me, I'm like, yeah, I want him to get the opportunity, but I do want some type of competition in here for him. And that's the same stance that I honestly have with Justin Fields. We come and bring Justin Fields back. I like it, and I want him to be, pole position and all that other stuff. But give me something in here that he can compete. Heck, man, even if it was Danny Dimes, bring both of them. Bring Danny and Fields in here, man. Let them both compete. And then, obviously, Fields should win this. We should all have our money on Fields. But it's like, yo, at least let me feel like you earned it. At least let me feel like you had to go out there and take it, versus just being given to you. And then we're questioning, were you ever good enough to be this? Or did you get this opportunity out of just, supply and demand, so to speak, man? But we shall see, man. We shall see. But like I said, that was with Dan Moore. Now, the other name is James Daniels. Now, with James, I don't think that was as big of a surprise, just because when he, tore the Achilles, did it early enough where we saw a lot of Mason McCormick, and we saw Mason McCormick play really well. I think that's the other thing when you're looking at Mason and why, we were a little bit more excited about him as the season went on, because not only are you getting a younger player, but it's also a lot cheaper. So now you have a lot more a lot more flexibility, just in terms of free agents, who you want to sign and stuff like that. Whereas to me, man, James Daniels is still a heck of a player when healthy, obviously. Heck of a player when healthy. But blew the Achilles, man. That Achilles is tough. Now, he's still going to get paid this offseason. He's going to get a nice deal somewhere, because Dan Moore is a dope interior offensive lineman with great size and athleticism for the position. Positional flexibility. Could play center, could play guard, right and left. Yeah, he's going to be fine. But in terms of us from a salary cap standpoint, even with the cap increasing by almost, was it 20? I think it was between 277 and 285 or 281 million dollars that the cap is going to balloon to from the 255 that it currently is, or what it was previously. With that, I'm over here like, yeah, I could add more pieces by just simply shaving the cost of James Daniel to Mason McCormick, because Mason has shown that I'm still going to get varsity production. And even though it might not be James Daniels caliber production, it's still good production for the position. And I'm getting a chance to grow and get some continuity between my youth, right? Mason McCormick, Zach Frazier. We obviously feel good about Seyu Malu. And hopefully going forward, Troy and Broderick will get their youth movement going. But with James, though, I like that one better. Just like I said, just because I feel a lot more confident in Mason McCormick. We got a chance to see Mason, and Mason played well. It's different. It's a different level of projection when I'm talking Dan Moore being replaced by Broderick Jones at left tackle than I'm talking about James Daniels being replaced by Mason McCormick at right guard, because I've seen Mason play a lot of games this year and play really well this year. Whereas obviously, like I said, man, with Broderick, we still got to see him play that left spot. But yeah, I don't hate it. I don't hate the move, man. I think from a business perspective, those are the type of moves that you do make when you got young players that are playing really well and are super cheap compared to the veteran that is, on the second or third contract. This is the move you make. It's not always the easiest thing to do, but you do that because, yeah, it's just going to give you more opportunities to make your roster have more talent, and that's what you need at this level. Quarterback matters. The dudes that affect the ball matters. But then from there, it's like, all right, now we start piecing up who matters more. What can I invest in more? And with a guy like James Daniels in his contract, it just frees you up, more space when you have a guy like Mason McCormick. And that's what we always talk about, cheap labor. That's the fight as an NFL veteran, man. The cheap labor is serious, man. When you start getting past that fourth year and you balloon from that that minimum level rookie deal to them dudes having to pay you, now you have to justify your existence. And the more money they pay you, the more you got to be a force multiplier. So if you're getting paid a couple M's, you need to be better than a couple of body types in here. If not, then now we're looking at you saying, well, was this a good investment? And that's ultimately, there's some dudes on defense that we look at like that, right? Another name that popped up was Larry Ogunjobi. We talked about some of the money you could save with him, man. That was following the Preston Smith release. And it's largely due to that. It's due to when you start looking at the amount of money those guys are making on their second contracts, and we're asking, are they force multiplying to that same extent? If they're not, then now you got to have those tough conversations of, are we allocating these resources the best way possible? Or could we be taking this money and allocating it elsewhere and getting different body types via draft and, kind of going that way? So, like I said, that's the interesting stage or stance that we are currently in right now, man, as it pertains to those dudes, man, those free agents, man. So, yeah, dude, shout out, though, to the Steelers, man, and their internal brass and some of this here decision making, man. But we will see ultimately what they do with both of those guys, man, not what they do with both of those guys, how they intend to replace both of those guys. I think everything is saying that it will be Mason McCormick, obviously being the right guard, which I do like. But the left spot, like I said, left tackle, that's going to be an interesting part, man. Do they just completely cut the cording, Broderick getting it without any type of resistance? Or, do they bring in some? Whether it's, like I said, the free agent type, man, mid-tier signing, or is it mid-round, fourth-round draft pick type, man? Somebody just come in and say, man, we just want to see what it look like. Just give you a little something to make you look over your shoulder a little bit. That's it. Like, I think all of those type of scenarios could be very beneficial to where we currently are, right? So, shout out, man. But y'all hit that like button one time for the coach. Don't forget to subscribe either if you are new to the channel. And big facts on that, Brandon Clark. Shout out to all the researchers in the building, baby. If you don't get your research on, what are you doing? And it's the offseason, bro. That's the best part about researching in the offseason. I literally watch tape and research. Dalvin Thompson, I tell you, man, I was watching him. Boy, I felt good over here. I was like, man, had leg day. Now it's time to unwind, watch a little tape. Then came in here, kicked it with y'all, man. And shout out to Brandon Clark, too, man. My 5'4" OJMU in the building. Shout out. I already know what time it is, man. Go Dukes. You know what it is, man. Heck yeah. Shooting about a month from now, man. We'll be finding out. I got college. I got a college kid or a kid that's trying to go to college, right? Shout out to my bugs. But yeah, man, we put the application to JMU, so she find out her decision in March or the decision on application in March. So y'all send some positive energy to my oldest way. All right, she wants to, I think she leaning there, but we'll see though. All right, we'll see. But shout out. And shout out to the Don Heavy Coin. He says, always research, baby. If you're not, what you doing? But only if you're productive, right? And I get it. Not everybody is on it. And, if you're not, man, teach their own. But I like to live a plant-based life, baby. You know that. And Robert Bennett, yes, we typically are at 8 p.m.s, especially with the new vibe. Today was different. Me and wifey, we going to the basketball game tonight, all right? Little local high school, man. We've been following them around, man. They had their little first round playoff game Friday, won. All right, shout out to the South Ed Lady Lions. So they got another game tonight, second round of the playoffs. So I said, what, let's throw the greenery on. No pun intended, gotta have the greenery. You know that. But it was like, yo, let's go check them out. So the game, I forgot. It's coming up soon. So ultimately, that's why I was like, it's gonna start a little bit earlier today, so I can get these content. Get them drops to you, because I know y'all need it. I know, and I need y'all. We need each other. All right. So I was like, let's get up here, let's chop it up for a few, and then after that, man, I'm gonna have to peace out. And I'm going to the game. I want to see some hoops. All right. I'm in basketball mode now, man. And my middle girl, she be in her bag getting her hoop on. I was at the game last night. Little in-house guy said, oh, my baby out here hitting layups, hitting little shots. Lord. Yeah, man. I'm full on like dad mode, baby. Full on dad mode. But yeah, man, so shout out to the hoopers out there though, man. But yeah, that's the vibe, man. And no, Josiah, I'm not going to get into coaching anytime soon, because I do enjoy the scheduling right now, man. I love being able to go and do whatever, whenever, with whoever, and not have to worry about, man, I got to get on the road, man. I got to get ready for the combine, man. I got to go watch more tape, man. I got to go worry about this player, man. Like, I'm trying to live a stress-free life for my 30s, all right? That's my goal. I'm about halfway through, all right? I'm getting close. I got a birthday coming up in about a couple weeks, all right? Boy, be 37, all right? So we tapping in. But my 20s, man, they were a ton of fun. They were insanely fun, but it was a lot of stress in that time, man. It wasn't a lot of kick your feet back. You're not worried about anything. Nah, man, I was in my proving grounds. I was me on the come up in the league, man, earning, the thing that was allowing me to ultimately build a crib and do what we doing now, man. So yeah. Now, man, I'm over here like, I just want my 30s. I'm vibing out, man. I'm doing the husband and the dad thing, doing the streaming thing, because I guess I'm a YouTuber, right? That's what I tell. I'm a YouTuber. They say, hey, did you just play football? No, man. I'm a streamer, bro. You look famous. I'm a YouTuber. Yeah, man. From YouTube, bro. I'm a YouTuber, man. All right. So yeah, I'm a YouTube dude. All right. But yeah, the Don, you got 5 years till 30? Hey, it be happening fast, bro. I felt like I remember when I turned 30. And then I was like, all right, I remember I retired after that. Now look, I said, boy, you about to be 37? Lord, how we get here? But it's a vibe, man. I got my little gray hair and my little beard. I'll be over here like, man, I ain't finna cut this yet. Let it grow. Let me just see what it look like. All right, I can dig that. Yeah. Ryan McPherson said he turned 28 a few days ago. Rod Dollar turning 35 next month. Salute. All right, salute the gang. Yeah, Cornell Banks, man, I had a gray, bro. It's like the longest gray. And I've been leaning into it. All right, I'm leaning into it. I'm like, you know what? I'm calling my little Gandalf the Gray, just right there. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. But shout out to the birthday people, man. You know what I mean? Hey, I don't run from getting old, man. You gotta enjoy it, because you either getting old or you're dead. All right, it's one or the other. The only time you stop getting old is when you check out. I ain't trying to check out no time soon, baby. Hopefully y'all aren't either, okay? So we're going to enjoy every new day, every new adventure as we continue to run it up. All right. Let's see. Let's get it, Leah. Okay. Shout out. Oh, Scott to the Smooth said he got a birthday on Friday, be 25. Salute to that then. All right. Malvo does going to be 41 in July. Respect, man. Respect. X Concept's gonna hit the 31 mark in July. Only age that scares me is my dogs. She needs to outlive me. Nah, I dig you on that. Anybody that got them fur babies, you know what time it is, man. I got the one that's like in her prime and she crazy. Shout out to Faith. But then I got my old man Biggie. Oh man, Biggie then guy. My man then went from like that nice, beautiful brindle to like, yo, my man like Greg. I be like, hey, bro. You get a little old, man. But yeah, man, he's still kicking, man. He still holding it down, man. So shout out to Biggie and Faith, man. If you know, you know, all right. But yeah, man. Shout out to the birthday people out there, man. My 30 and up gang and my 20 and under gang and my old gang across the board, man. I love all of it, man. I love all of it. Jay said old dogs are the best. They are, but they be stuck in their ways, bro. But yeah, man, they be vibing out, man. Shout out to the dog lovers out there. Shout out to the animal people out there. All right, man. Yeah. Got my little Frenchies, my little tag team. All right. Named them after Biggie and Faith. Yes, Biggie Smalls, Faith Evans. I like it toxic in the house. All right. So shout out, man. All righty. And I like how we went from talking about dudes losing their jobs and Danny Dimes coming here to, hey, yo, how old everybody? Shout out to the chat. I'm telling you, man, y'all awesome like that, man.